Representative Bill Keating asked Secretary of State Marco Rubio a simple question. With all your years on the Senate Intelligence Committee, 5 years as chair, and now as Secretary of State, have you ever heard the name Bill Pulte in the context of intelligence? Rubio's answer, no, never heard his name.
Have you ever, specifically in the context of the intelligence community, heard the name Bill Pulte?
In the context of intelligence?
That's what I said.
No, I have
never heard his name. Okay, thank you for answering that.
Well,
never even heard his name.
Bill Pulte is Donald Trump's choice for acting director of national intelligence. He has no intelligence experience. His misuse of confidential information led to the prosecution of the president's political enemies. He couldn't even handle the Federal Housing Finance Agency. Now he runs the nation's intelligence community. The Secretary of State has never heard of him.
Is now the person in charge of the nation's most closely guarded intelligence when he couldn't even conduct himself appropriately as the Federal Housing Finance Director. Now,
then Keating asked about Zahari. Rubio never heard that name either. Zahari pleaded guilty to breaking into the Capitol on January 6th through a broken window, wielding a metal rod. Trump appointed him to a Pentagon team focused on counterterrorism. A January 6th rioter is now working on terrorism at the Pentagon.
And Donald Trump appointed him to a team at the Pentagon focused on irregular warfare and, of all things, counterterrorism. That's ironic.
Then Keating turned to Ukraine. The U.S. gave its word to defend Ukraine after they gave up their nukes. Instead, the Trump administration issued a license allowing Russia to sell billions in oil every month, fueling Putin's war machine. The Secretary of State has never heard of them. Let's watch.
Representative Keating is recognized.
Chairman, for the record, I ask unanimous consent to submit the President's financial disclosure form, which will detail those dealings that were referred to by the ranking member.
Without objection.
Secretary, thank you for being here. In conjunction with your job, you're also the National Security Advisor with access to the most sensitive intelligence secrets our countries and other countries have in the world. But before this, you had these two positions. You had a distinguished career as a member and a chair for 5 years of the Senate Intelligence Committee up to last year. And you and Senator Warner are some of the most respected and knowledgeable people at that time and voices in the entire intelligence community, earning the trust of Democrats and Republicans alike, Senator and House members, and other countries. So with all your Intelligence Committee experience, and now as Secretary of State and National Security Advisor, and all those years of experience, have you ever, specifically in the context of the intelligence community, heard the name Bill Pulte?
In the context of intelligence?
That's what I said.
No, I have
never heard his name. Okay, thank you for answering that.
Well,
never even heard his name. Given all your years of experience and your position now, never heard the name. For the record, Bill Pulte is a person Donald Trump has chosen for the acting director of national intelligence with no experience in the intelligence field, whose misuse, widely reported, of confidential information led to the prosecution of the president's political enemies, is now the person in charge of the nation's most closely guarded intelligence when he couldn't even conduct himself appropriately as the Federal Housing Finance Director. Now, Secretary, have you ever heard of the name Zahari?
Who's that?
You've never heard the name Zahari?
I mean, it doesn't ring a bell off the top.
In the context of security? Well, let me tell you. Mr. Zahari pleaded guilty for breaking into the Capitol on January 6th through a broken window, wielding a metal rod as a weapon. And Donald Trump appointed him to a team at the Pentagon focused on irregular warfare and, of all things, counterterrorism. That's ironic, given that he participated in one of the most significant incidents of domestic terror in our country's history. I think it's shameful, the people that are being appointed, and I think it's also shameful some of the people that have been fired. Now, I want to move to Iran because given your nuclear and intelligence background, which is extensive and appreciated and respected, I'm sure you're aware that Ukraine, the country at the time with the third largest nuclear arsenal peacefully turned over their nuclear weapons in conjunction with the Budapest Memorandum and in exchange for the U.S. commitment to defend Ukraine if it ever came under threat. The U.S. gave their word to Ukraine they would defend them. And I found this amazing. In your opening remarks, as you took us all over the world, and you mentioned 15 different incidents where you have interceded. 15, the top 15. Not once did you mention Ukraine when you were prioritizing the achievement that's there. Now let me go on.
Try to stay under
Let
5
me go
minutes.
on. Oh, you tried to stay. Yeah, please.
Well, I
it's
can
not
answer
funny.
that.
It's not funny, Secretary. Now,
What's not funny
in
is
Iran
that-
now.
Well, you don't.
In
this is-
Iran
you
now,
can't even
I
answer
reclaim
questions
my
here.
time. I reclaim my time, Mr. Chairman.
You
He's
guys make
interrupting
these
me.
statements and no
he
one can
is
respond.
interrupting me.
Do something about it.
I'm doing it. I'm asking you to reclaim those seconds back.
No.
Now in Iran, what goes around comes around, Mr. Chairman. Now in Iran, the Trump administration issues a general license to Russia, providing billions in oil profits every month, several billion every month, fueling Putin's war machine. You didn't mention that in your opening remarks. And then this is a war of aggression of Russia attacking Ukraine, which we gave in our agreement. And this is to a country that's assisting us in Iran, Ukraine, and helping a country with a war machine that are aiding Iran against us and putting our service members in jeopardy. Look, we have an opportunity as members just today to vote on the Ukraine Support Act. I hope we do it, and I am confident that we have bipartisan support. But I hope this administration will act on its own. They could do things themselves that you didn't mention, like rescind these general licenses, complete a bilateral drone agreement with Ukraine, provide direct military assistance that has access to Ukraine, implement comprehensive sanctions packages,
Representative's
and condemn
time has expired.
the arresting.
Representative
Thank you,
Smith
Mr.
of New
Chairman,
Jersey
for taking
is
up
recognized.
my time and squandering it. That's not how a chairman should act.
Representative Smith, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, if you need a moment to respond to it.
Well, I also didn't mention Cuba because I literally hand wrote what I was going to say to you guys, and I told you I was going to submit the written for the record. And I think everybody understands Cuba is a priority for me. Just on the Ukraine front, I'll address it now if it's okay with your time that I could do so. I think it's well documented that we've been very involved in trying to get the two sides to the table. We've invested a lot of time in it. Unfortunately, so to this point, neither side has been willing to make concessions, particularly on the Russian side, necessary in order to bring peace about. We remain ready to play any role we can in that context of bringing a peace about because we think the war in Ukraine, devastating war, has no military solution. It can only be solved through a diplomatic route, and it's been unfruitful. I would characterize it as the ongoing challenges. That said, let's be clear, we are not, to be fair and to be frank, we are not impartial mediators in that war. Okay? We don't provide weapons to Russia. We only provide weapons to Ukraine. We don't impose sanctions on Ukraine. We only impose sanctions on Russia. So we have clearly taken a side. We continue to sell weapons to Ukraine, by the way, through the Pearl program, unimpeded by what's happened in the Middle East or anywhere else. And look, we'd love to see that come to a negotiated settlement. As of right now, the prospects don't look great that either side is prepared to make the concessions necessary in order to reach an agreement. But we stand ready, and we've engaged and invested a tremendous amount of high-level time on that conflict over the last year. I think it's a source of frustration for the world. Hopefully this year will bring better news. I don't have any news for you on that front today, but we are ready. As I've expressed to both sides repeatedly, we're ready to step in and play whatever positive role we can to bring that devastating and escalating war to an end.
Mr. Secretary, thank you very much.
This hearing is a masterclass in how to use a witness's own credibility to expose the lack of credibility in others. Representative Bill Keating began by praising Secretary of State Marco Rubio. He noted Rubio's distinguished career on the Senate Intelligence Committee, 5 years as chair, respected by Democrats and Republicans alike, trusted by the entire intelligence community. Then Keating asked the question, with all that experience, have you ever heard the name Bill Pulte in the context of intelligence? Rubio said no, he never heard his name. Bill Pulte is the acting director of national intelligence. He is the top intelligence official in the United States. He oversees 17 intelligence agencies. He briefs the president. He has access to the nation's most closely guarded secrets. He has no experience in the intelligence field. He is a housing finance guy. His misuse of confidential information led to the prosecution of the president's political enemies. He could not even conduct himself appropriately as the Federal Housing Finance Director, and the Secretary of State, who has spent decades in intelligence, has never heard of him. That is not a minor oversight. That is a systemic failure. The Director of National Intelligence is not a low-level staffer. He is not a deputy. He is not an advisor. He is the head of the entire intelligence community. And the person who holds that position is so unknown, so unqualified, so irrelevant to the world of intelligence that the Secretary of State, who has been in intelligence for years, has never heard his name. Keating let that fact sit. He did not need to editorialize. The silence spoke for itself. Then Keating asked about Zahari. Rubio had never heard that name either. Zahari pleaded guilty to breaking into the Capitol on January 6th. He came in through a broken window. He wielded a metal rod as a weapon. He was convicted of participating in one of the most significant incidents of domestic terror in American history. Donald Trump appointed him to a team at the Pentagon focused on irregular warfare and counterterrorism. A man who attacked the Capitol is now working on counterterrorism at the Pentagon. Keating called it shameful. He was right. Then Keating pivoted to Ukraine. He noted that the United States gave its word to defend Ukraine in exchange for Ukraine giving up its nuclear arsenal. That was the Budapest Memorandum. The U.S. made a commitment. Now Russia is attacking Ukraine. The U.S. is not defending Ukraine. Instead, the Trump administration issued a general license to Russia, providing billions in oil profits every month. That money fuels Putin's war machine. That same Russia is aiding Iran against the United States. That same Russia is putting American service members in jeopardy. Rubio's defense was careful. He said the U.S. provides weapons only to Ukraine, not to Russia. He said the U.S. imposes sanctions only on Russia, not on Ukraine. He said the U.S. is not impartial. That is true. But it is also true that the U.S. issued a general license allowing Russia to sell oil. That license generates billions of dollars for the Russian war effort. Rubio did not mention that. He did not defend it. He talked about peace negotiations. He said neither side is ready to make concessions. That is also true. But it is not an answer to the question. Keating's closing point was the most important. He said there is an opportunity to vote on the Ukraine Support Act. He said he is confident there is bipartisan support. He urged the administration to act on its own, to rescind the general licenses, to complete a bilateral drone agreement, to provide direct military assistance, to implement comprehensive sanctions. These are not radical ideas. They are basic steps that any administration committed to defending Ukraine would take. The Trump administration has not taken them. Rubio did not say they would. The contrast between the two parts of this hearing is striking. In the first part, Keating exposed the lack of qualifications of Trump's intelligence chief. In the second part, he exposed the lack of action on Ukraine. The common thread is competence. The people running the government are not qualified. The policies they are pursuing are not working. And the Secretary of State, who is respected and knowledgeable, cannot defend either. He can only say he has never heard of them.